Hey there, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. Did you know that this is the last vlog of the decade? The month, the year, and the decade. We are wrapping up, what is it? The 20 teens? Which followed the 20-aughts? The good news is we are entering a decade with a much friendlier name. We are entering the 2020s, which is, I reckon, the first decade where people will freely start talking about the decade as an identifiable thing, the 2020s in the 21st century. Anyway, I'm excited about that. Excited about the 2020s. Super excited. And there's a lot of pressure to shoot the last vlog of the decade. I don't know, maybe it's pressure I'm making up in my own head, but it just sort of feels like a moment where one ought to say the most profound things. Yeah, no pressure. It's not a real gun to my head. No joke, I have been reflecting an awful lot. I don't know if you saw last week's vlog or the vlog before that, but there's a little bit that's been going on around here that would make a girl reflect. And the decade is coming to a close. It's December 25th, 2019. So if you celebrate Christmas, I want to say Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Wednesday. So as I was reflecting, I was noticing something. I don't have any regrets. I don't know if you know that about me. I've known that about myself for quite a while. I just don't have them. I don't ever remember having them. I don't have them. And it's funny because it comes out, there's this podcast interview question that I get asked all the time on podcasts. I don't know, it's like in the secret playbook of things you're supposed to ask your guest when you interview them for a podcast. And it goes like this. If you could go back in time and tell your earlier, younger, formative self one key piece of advice, one key thing, what would you tell yourself? And I always kind of bristle and I'm like, nothing. Like I wouldn't want to, whatever it is I know now that I didn't know then, it's because of some pothole I was about to fall into that I learned from. So I wouldn't want to not learn that lesson, honestly. Like I wouldn't say a thing to my former self. Anyway, yeah, I have no regrets. Like it's all been toward the good, ultimately. And I guess since I'm a fan of not having regrets in the sense that I'm relieved that I don't have regrets, in the sense that it feels like being saddled with a bunch of regrets would feel less good than not having any. I'd like to share with you how it is that I don't have any regrets, because I think it's a pretty easy, thought pattern to adopt. And it's that I see opportunity everywhere. Opportunity. In particular, opportunity to find a lesson, an opportunity to seek a transformation narrative in what's happened. I'm always scanning my past and thinking, how can I tell this as a story in my own story of myself so that I take whatever... So I just gotta back up for a second, because I think you know this, right? I don't not have regrets because I've lived a perfect life, or because I'm virtuous, or because I'm like stellar at this living thing in any particular way. That's not it, right? Like, need I remind you that at the age of 19, I was a crack addict and a prostitute sitting there with a blonde wig on my head. Like, I've done some things. I used to shoplift regularly as a kid. Like, I have not been a perfect person. I just don't regret that stuff, right? Like, when we know better, we do better. And even I guess I did know better. I don't know. Sometimes when we know better, we don't do better, And then it's like, well, how do we make light of our ridiculousness and seek the opportunity? So finding the opportunity, spinning the transformation narrative, the point at which things change, and it might not have happened yet. August 9th, 1994. I got out of that crack house. Later that night, I found myself in a 12-step meeting for alcoholic and drug addiction. I haven't had a drink or a drug in all those years, 25 and coming up on a half years. January 26th, 2014, my life changed forever. God told me to write a book called Bright Line Eating. Later that year, August 5th, 2014, the Bright Line Eating movement was born. The email list started. Transformation stories, all of them, crafted, honed by seeking the opportunity. There is so much opportunity in 2020 that's coming. There is so much opportunity in our past if we look at it through the lens of, where have I been hopeless and ridiculous? And how can I spin the story of what I learned from that and the line in the sand that I drew and the date after which things changed? Or the period of time where I learned a lesson repeatedly the hard way and emerged stronger for it. I'm on a Gideon Games team. I might just wrap up this year with a story. I'm on a Gideon Games team. This is a true story, and it just happened. Just like a few days ago, a few days ago. I'm on a Gideon Games team. Do you know what that is? I'm a Bright Lifer. I'm on the mothership. I am not the mothership. I am on the mothership. Arm in arm with a bunch of people, thousands of people who've done the boot camp, who signed up for Bright Lifers afterwards, and who are arm in arm in doing this Bright Line Eating thing, like living it to the best of our ability, sometimes badly, sometimes floating off in a pod far from the mothership and knowing that we should be connecting up more, whatever. I am a Bright Lifer. And I participate in this thing called the Gideon Games. And it's a contest that we run every 90 days where groups of 10 people compete. And the team with the most Bright Line days wins. 10 people, 90 days, 900 possible Bright Line days, 900 possible Bright Line points. You get 1 point if you had a Bright Line day, 0 points if you didn't. It's that simple. Couldn't be more straightforward. Rack up Bright Line days. That's the goal. So I'm on this team this time, right now, as we speak. Right now, I'm on this team called the Boo Crew. And just saying, I don't know if you remember, I shot a vlog called Boo Crew not that long ago. This team existed then, so we felt kind of famous, the 10 of us. And, Susan Pierce Thompson's on the team. Everett Considine's on the team. He runs Bright Line Freedom. He's our parts work IFS expert. He's also going to be the co-author of my next book, Resume, due out in late 2020. Lyndon Morris Del Rio's on the team. She's like one of our most senior Bright Line Eating coaches. She coaches our boot campers. So a lot of people coming into Bright Lifers, they think of Lyndon as like the calm, sane, compassionate, sweet, sweet, sweet voice, the manna from heaven that is the Bright Line Eating love. They were coached by Lyndon in their boot camp. And now they come into Bright Lifers. She's on that team. Me, Everett, Lyndon, 7 others. And a rising tide lifts all boats. So everyone, even though a bunch of us, I had Bright Lines coming in, but there were several people who didn't have Bright Lines coming in. Lyndon has the longest stretch of Bright Lines among us. She's past 5 years now of squeaky clean, perfect Bright Lines. As a matter of fact, she has the most consecutive Bright Line days of anyone in Bright Line Eating who started in Bright Line Eating. I think that's true. Yeah, Lyndon, rock star. So anyway, the Boo Crew, the rising tide lifts all boats. We were all keeping our Bright Lines perfectly, week after week after week after week after week after week. And there were a few people who came in really shaky with their lines. So they were like, okay, I'm on day 3 at the beginning. Okay, I made it to day 7. Okay, I made it to day 10. And then, that automaticity started to kick in. And then it was like, okay, I guess their lines are bright and I guess we're sailing, right? And the leader of our team, Kim Champion, she's like amazing. And she often is the leader of the winning team. It's happened to her more than once, just saying, because she's amazing. And she was saying, this is how it goes on a winning team. You know, you just kind of say the mantra, like, I won't be the first one to break my lines. Not on this team, not on the Boo Crew. I won't be the first one to break my line. So we were cruising along. 5, 6, 7 weeks pass. We're using this app called Marco Polo to check in with each other daily. You know, not everyone every day, but like, you know, sometimes if I get distracted, I'll look down and there's like 43 new videos to watch. It's a lot. I don't watch them all, but I tuned in this week, and Tony on our team from Canada said, I so hate to record this video, but you guys, I broke my lines. I had a quantities break. I finished my meal, and then I was like possessed and I ate a bunch more. I watched that video and my heart was like, oh, I bet she feels so bad. Poor sweet Tony. Oh. Actually, my first real thought was, I wonder if she really broke her lines, because people can be very much too hard on themselves. If it was really just a quantities break, that was my first concern. Uh-oh, I hope she's not being too hard on herself. I better call her up and make sure that was really a break. I called her. It was a real break. So I'm watching this video thread. Tony's there. She says she broke her lines. The next video is the voice of what we do around here. It's Lyndon saying, oh, Tony, I'm so glad you came on here and were honest with us about that. I'm sure that's not what you wanted to have happen, or... And then she said, you know, I love that you didn't seem to have tons and tons and tons of shame around it. I mean, maybe you did, but it's not what I heard from you. And she said, you know, what I really love is I'm sitting here and noticing the opportunity. Because we were all kind of, you know, digging on that narrative that we're the Boo Crew and we've got perfect bright lines and we're at the top of the leaderboard. And she said, what an opportunity for each of us to try on in our bodies and in our minds and in our spirits this different narrative of, look, as a team, we're not perfect anymore, and now we get to experience that together as a team. What an opportunity we have now to sink into how that feels and to do it this way now, to watch ourselves love on each other the same, maybe more. We'll see what happens. I wonder what this opportunity is, to experience the Boo Crew without the perfect score and being at the top of the leaderboard. What an opportunity for us, she said. Everything is an opportunity. The mail deliverer coming up the walkway, maybe that's an opportunity. Who knows what they're about to deliver? But really, it's the cracks. It's where the light comes through. If you're eating if you're stuck with your food in a way that leaves you feeling not free, it's an opportunity. And your job is to find out, search out what opportunity. What is the opportunity? What is your experience with food right now telling you? What is it calling you to? Where's the transformation narrative for you? You've been collecting data. You've done some research. Can you draw a line in the sand? Now, next week, January 1st, whenever? Or can you watch yourself stumble and fall over and over again and dig deep and come out with no regrets, seeing that it had to be what it was? It has to be what it was. It is what it is. Food is the hardest. I've been addicted to almost everything that I would never wish on anybody. And food is so hard. And it teaches us the most, in my experience. Because we have that daily interaction with it that helps us take our pulse. It helps us to know where we're at with ourselves, with our growth journey. Tony, I love you. Bright Lifers, I love you. Brightline Eating Community, I love you. And if you didn't hear, we raised the money from last week, all of it, in less than 3 days. $250 some odd thousand raised in less than 3 days. I'll tell you more about it in 2020. We'll be changing the face of Western medicine. Go us. And if you didn't hear from the week before, David and I love each other so much. David, I love you. Thank you, David, for supporting me in coming on this camera week after week after week after 100th week after 100th week and sharing my truth, my transformation narratives, my opportunities, even when they involve you. Thank you, David. I love you. Brightline Eating team, I love you. I know you're working so hard right now. We are showing up so big to support the people who want to really, really, really seek the opportunity in 2020 and not let the research they've been doing, any kind of research on aggregating Crystal Vaser Brightline days, research on being in the ditch, research on taking a handful of nuts after dinner a couple times a week, seeing how that's working for you, any kind of research. We are here to serve you in 2020. Thank you for the privilege of standing in front of you every week. Thank you for the privilege of doing this life's work. You bless me so immeasurably. I don't know how I get to be so lucky. But you keep watching, and I promise I'll keep telling the truth. And doing my best to live a life that's worth showing up on a weekly vlog for. I don't know if I could do that, but I promise I'll try. I love you. Let's go into 2020 arm in arm and seek the opportunity. Because it's so happening now and then. I'll see you in 2020. That's the weekly vlog, the last one of the decade. I'll see you next week.